indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Joe Martinez here, so that's
George Daskell here. Eric Navarrete here.
Matthew Moreno here.
Kathy Bueno here. Proof of notice. Anybody have any issues with that?
They were corrected. Officially corrected as of today.
Yes. Okay. And then our meeting time, we have 5 o'clock, right? All right. Approval of minutes from December 6th. Did you guys see anything in them in December that we needed to correct?
I did.
So Joe, you move. Is that a second? Roll call.
Joe Martinez here.
George Daskell, yes. Eric Navarrete.
Matthew Moreno, yes.
Yes.
The motion we skip public comment.
Since we don't have anything with the agenda here, I'd like to ask that we go into executive session to discuss, not now, but later on, to discuss the communication we got from our lawyer.
Yes, absolutely.
I also have something I need to bring up too, so.
Okay. So we do need to break into executive session when it's time. All right, and then, right now, we'll just kind of table public comments in case somebody comes in.
If we could, since Dr. Weber had to drive back to Pueblo, if we could let him give
Address
us
us?
whatever report he has, that way he can head for the Great White North.
Things are going good. I just came today and reviewed trip reports, and I usually like to make some comments back, but everything looked good, so I think that you guys are doing a good job. They're following the guidelines, and you're doing a good job.
Good, that's good to hear.
How long did it take you to stop saying protocols and start saying guidelines?
It's still.
Okay, wanted to make sure. All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Have a safe trip. Thanks.
Yes, drive safe. There's a
He just
bunch
walks
of
in and
people
then
on that
turns
road.
around and walks out. Be careful.
Okay, so let's go to the financial and billing report, please.
Okay, finances are still pretty strong. The one thing that Bernadette noted, that November was just a typical month to see the 297,000 in accounts receivable. But if you compare that to December, she made a note, it's 166,000, and there's a couple of reasons for that. We get what they call extenders or bonus payments for Medicare for being super rural. So it's like a 23% add-ons, another thing they call them, that we get. And those expired with the budget. When they did the continuing resolution to fund it again, it wasn't part of that. So we've got to wait till they fund the budget. So what EMS has done is, rather than billing those out and then having to rebill when the authorization is passed to pay, the appropriations to pay for that CMS does, they're holding off on the payment until that happens. And then they usually hold off, we know, in January or February 15th for Medicare every year. They do that until the Medicare co-pays hit every year. So they hold off on that. But they've been holding off until these extenders get approved again. And there's every indication that they're going to be approved. It's just that it's part of a budget, and they haven't passed a budget. It's just been continuing resolution, so it hasn't been part of the continuing resolution. But American Ambulance Association and the National Association of EMTs have both been lobbying. They say that they are going to make them retroactive. So this way they'll just file the claims once, and we'll get the payment rather than filing the claims and having to file a second claim for the extenders. So without that, everything would look pretty good. I think even
Even
Bernadette
with
knows.
that, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, the expense is considerably lower than the previous year, she noted. So I think we're doing pretty good. Income's good and expenses are down, so.
Anybody have any comments or questions? George, Joe, anybody?
No.
All right, so I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Martinez, yes.
George Gasper, yes.
Eric Navarrete.
Councilmember Lewis.
Kathy Brenner, yes. Director's report.
Letter was sent to City of Trinidad on 20th of December. Like I said, after meeting with my board of directors regarding a request for $91,000 to fund dispatch, they've opted to take no action at this time for several reasons. Primarily, the board is concerned that a request has been made for a significant amount of money, yet no proposal for service has been provided. In other words, we have been asked for money, but we aren't being told what the city is offering in return. Another concern expressed is the rapid increase from not having to pay for dispatch services at all, and in parentheses, the practice we still wish to maintain with the Rural Fire District, to the district having to find additional $91,000 in our budget. The board felt compared to our small amount of usage, it was a disproportionate amount. Finally, the city receives $100,000 each year from the 911 authority. That money is collected countywide, not just from residents in the city. As such, we believe that there are already some funds being received from outside the city to pay for dispatch functions. The board requested that I write you and ask for proposal of some kind, keeping their concerns in mind. Our next meeting is January 24th. If provided something prior to that date, I'd be happy to present it to my board.
No
Did you
response?
get anything?
No response.
And that went out again when?
December 20th.
So,
We're at a dead
over
issue.
a month, yeah.
We're at a dead issue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a month.
That's plenty of time to wait for a response, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, yeah. And they didn't respond, so we're just good, $91,000. Oh, well, we weren't gonna pay that much anyway.
Right, but still. It's
Um,
not to say they won't come back eventually, but.
No, eventually.
Well, you would kind of.
Mhm.
We'll see.
Well, it's gotta be done timely because of budget
Right,
restraints, I mean, hey.
We've already made appropriations for this budget.
Yeah,
so
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
It's not like we're trying to
everybody's-
find $1,500, $91,000 isn't easy.
it won't stop them from coming.
Right after this meeting.
I wrote a letter to Senator Garcia, thanking him for getting that Medicaid issue resolved. And I mean, this guy was on the phone with us during conference calls, and I had people, the number 2 or 3 people calling me from PICPUF. I learned something new, healthcare policy financing. PICPUF, they call it. And I said, dear Senator Garcia, as you know, the Trinidad Ambulance District is having a great deal of difficulty getting payments from Colorado Medicaid in 2017. We were rapidly approaching 1 year without payment for our ambulance transport services. As a rural provider in a, quote, financially challenged county, we depend on those funds to keep the doors open. Even though we are not your constituents, you accepted our request for assistance. Your background as a paramedic gave you the required knowledge of the EMS industry. Your experience as a Marine gave you the tenacity to go the extra mile for us, and your commitment to public service provided the compassion necessary to help us. You did this even though you had nothing to receive from us in return for your assistance. You are exactly what this country needs more of, politicians willing to fight for what's right, regardless of whether or not there is personal gain. Words cannot express my gratitude for all you have done. Months of dealing with the bureaucracy, conference calls, texts, and many other inconveniences would have had the average person giving up. You, on the other hand, kept the issue moving forward, initiating action and taking the lead. After 11 long months, the issue has finally been resolved in our favor. This would not have happened without your assistance. Thank you, Senator Garcia, for all that you do and for being our voice when nobody would listen to us.
Nice letter.
I can do okay. We have a memorandum of understanding that I'm going to sign with Trinidad State Junior College, and essentially what it says is they want us to teach EMS classes for them, and we want our people to be able to take classes up there pertaining to EMS stuff and kind of work a swap. And so that's been done. I had Dodge review it. He says it's good with him. So we're gonna sign that before the end of the week to get that done. And then we'll have another class. So far, 6 for 6, last I heard, 6 people took National Registry on the first time. 6 people passed it.
Who's teaching? Who's teaching?
That was Andrew. The top man. So I'm pretty,
No, but I mean, they're at the college now. Who's gonna teach us next EMS? Of course, Andrea.
no, she told him that she couldn't, she told him months ago, she can't teach this class because she's got other things she's working on with the state, and we're working with Pueblo Community College to try and get them to come down here and to let us teach the paramedic bridge down here so we don't have to send people to Denver. So actually we have a lunch, Dr. Sweeney and Dawn from up at Pueblo Community College are coming down next Tuesday. They invited us to lunch to talk about how we get all this. So we may have the bridge here and hopefully we can work out kind of the same deal that we have at PSJC, costing money to do it. But it'll be good because National Registry is not gonna, in 2020, they're gonna stop with EMT intermediates. They're not gonna test anymore. So, matter of fact, PCC just put out a letter saying they're doing their last class. So if you want to be an intermediate, you got to do it now, because they're not doing it again. Well, because the only way that you can get certified in the state of Colorado is to have a national registry. And if the national registry is not going to give out a national registry intermediate, then you can't get certified. So, and then after the bridge, hopefully we get everybody through that. Then we'll do the standard EMT paramedic class, which will be probably a year-long class. So Andrea's got to do the COAMPS accreditation. So you can't just write a certificate saying, you know, Johnny Smith passed our paramedic program. It's got to be a accredited program. So we're going to go through the accreditation and help PSGC go through the accreditation process so that hopefully we can do it now. Because I asked them again, do you want to do it? And we had a meeting with Lori Ray and Lori Velasquez and
Lynette Davis.
Lynette, that's right. No, Lori Ray wasn't here.
Lori Ray wasn't here.
Lori Velasquez, Lynette, and Carrie.
Okay. And so they were, yes, we're definitely interested in doing the paramedic class, but their holdup is the Department of Education. She said they've got a class that they're waiting on. They submitted almost 2 years ago.
So this will be an
You had any dealings with that?
certification.
2 years
Wow.
with the Department of Education.
That's got to be something on their part in the back end or something that has happened in the past.
I don't know, but she said that, well, I think that's statewide. She said people.
Yeah, she's the Department of Education's running slow statewide.
Slow, it's running backwards.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna tell you, there's a little bit,
Yeah,
2
and
steps forward and 4 back.
Yeah.
That's about what
I
they
think,
go.
I think they've done some of the classes for something, and so their concern is they're gonna have people graduate and the approval to give the
Oh,
people,
wow.
yeah. So,
Oh, that's not good.
it's not good enough.
And again, that bridge was something that we offered TSGC a while back to do too, right?
Yeah, and again, we can't until we have, PCC already has the accreditation, they're already teaching the class, they already have agreements with AMR, they have agreements with the hospital, so I think it's gonna help the people who go to places that are a little busier and get a little more experience rather than working here, so. I think it'll help, but as we get at least the classroom stuff, I think it will be better, and we should be able to do that with PCC, but I'd like to see TSGJC, since I think you're gonna see a huge number of intermediates when they go to paramedic. I think you're gonna see that being a good moneymaker for the college, if we can get to come down as part of that.
Cool. My decision on National Registry, at least this is like a big report, it's got people south going all the way up to Denver and,
Well, and that was the key part anyway.
yeah.
wanted to be a center point here for that instead of coming from
They're,
down south.
they're still interested in the public safety training center. That's not something that they let fall.
Who's there?
Well, we got Keith Gibson has most of the post academy put together because they have one over in Alamosa, so he's been able to kind of some of that stuff. And now that we've got some folks at PD that have more training credentials, other than just the ones we had at SO, it looks like we might be able to get. Trinidad PD, like we talked about, Dave and I met with the captain and deputy chief a couple of weeks ago, and they were talking about doing their own academy, but it would be so much better if they could just go through here and we could offer it for everybody. So you don't have to or quit your job.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the one that they had here at the college was pretty good. That class was always full of, it'd be good to bring it back. I mean, because there's a lot of people that are interested in it.
Well, I
Just-
think-
They just can't afford to go out of town and
No, and it's part-time,
back
so
and
you don't
forth.
have to
all
quit.
this stuff.
Those ones, you have to quit your job and go full-time.
That's what I'm saying, you know. This, it gives
Or
you time to.
sponsor from a
to do it,
department,
You know, so.
like partners.
Right. But, you know, this hopefully would be a good thing for them. Gabe and I went to the county commission meeting where they approved our license and they had some questions. There were some people on the roster that expired, but we had the inspections done in November. We just had the meetings between the meeting and then, so we provided new updated certifications to them. The one thing that they were they thought that the district was like a shining star in the community, and they said they think more people need to know about it. And so what they would like to have is a quarterly report from the district so that they know, it's kind of like a director's report like I'm doing here, so that they know what's been going on at the district, you know, what kind of training. Yeah, they just, and I thought that was a great idea. That was Commissioner Lopez brought that up, and Commissioner Mulder was behind it 100%.
Question,
Yeah.
what did Mac have to say?
He was absent.
Oh, really?
And then I also brought up, they're antiquated, they're looking for stuff that nobody has, nobody carries that anymore, it's not protocol. Then we have things that they're not checking for, so I think that's a health department thing, because they were saying, well, you guys need to update your forms. It's not us, it's the health department that does the inspection, so they have to upgrade, modernize them somewhat. And I said, since they're coming every year, we're doing the same thing. I said, we've even had our inspections in October, because our licensure is calendar year, hoping we would have our licensure before January 1st. I said, it's never happened. So I said, if we could, I'd like to make it for a 2-year period. So they said they would entertain doing a 2-year licensure period, which I think is, that a lot of places have that, an annual thing. And it really is, I mean, they come and, they don't even really inspect the quality of the trucks. It's more of a counting Band-Aids and, yeah. It's just counting stuff and, yeah.
That's what I was just gonna say, just checking.
That's pretty much it is it's an inventory, so hopefully we can get away with a 2-year thing. We were contacted by the first time for Trinidad Police Department to do their first aid and CPR. So we're going to be doing that for them. Exelon said our chassis is scheduled to be delivered in April for June. It's got to be done before the end of June. So that's coming up. We didn't think we needed a new van, so we took a care van. So we moved just that $35,000 into other areas. That's the budget that's going to go to the Department of Local Government. Nothing else has changed other than we took that $30,000 or $35,000 and put it into.
From where to where?
When we added to that, like the snow vehicle and
The vehicles, it's on
Well, so that is,
Page 2, towards the bottom.
Yeah, right here.
you took 35,000 of that?
right. It was 35 for a van.
Yeah, oh,
And distributed it
Purchase 40,000.
That's
And you
20,
take-
that's 2 years, the last column.
yeah. You took it out of there because you're not gonna buy them that.
Right, right.
And you put it in snow removal.
The snow vehicle we talked about, we were gonna use the Humvee, and then after looking at the Humvee, we just thought the Jeep would be much easier to maintain than a Humvee. And it cost us $60,000.
Yes.
Well,
That,
so for a used Humvee, just to have it refurbished was like 65,000. This is depending. So that's kind of like a basic refurbish for the Humvee. So we thought if we looked at a Jeep, we did some research, and Dave was able to find a couple of Jeeps that were used at, looks like ski areas, where they're using them to actually go in and take the people off the snow. So looking at that with the plow, and, you know, 'cause last year,
Now, these Jeeps, are they the tires, or do they have the tracks, or, you know, because sometimes, like they had the last time, you know, they had that thing in San Isabel and some other people that come in with the, you know, the track vehicles. That you pop the wheels off, you pop the tracks on it.
we looked at the tracks, but in order to put the tracks on, you've got to get under, we're looking at something you can actually drive to the scene. And if it's a tracked vehicle, you've got to put it on a trailer and take it to the scene. So we looked at getting, we found a couple of places that make plows for the Jeeps so that you can push the snow out of the way to get the Jeep in there. And we thought that was a better approach
Yeah,
than
but
a
is
track.
that Jeep gonna be big enough to put some of the snow that's up in the canyons?
I think if you put it four-wheel low, and if it's beyond that, then I don't,
Well, and that, I mean, if you look
Because-
on Facebook and stuff like that, they have those quick attachments now that are on tracks.
That's what I'm saying, I mean, you know, they're locked and they climb up and over, and then, I mean, if you're gonna spend this kind of money, you look at something that's gonna be more economical.
yeah, we
I mean,
looked
and
at
how
those
a lot
tracks,
better.
but they don't, they make it look like you just drive on them, and then you go, but there's not. You've got to get underneath and do all this attachment.
Because there's some that, I mean, that you could just, I mean, pick up with a jack, pop them on, pop them off, and, I mean, you know, hey, I mean, because like I said, I know them canyons up there, let me tell you, you think 3 foot of snow ain't bad, but when the wind starts blowing, you ain't gonna push it, because sometimes them graders turn sideways. And that's
I know I've had
chained
snow
up
over the
all
hood of that
six, because of that
F-350.
ice. I
So-
mean, you know, I mean,
Yeah, we can look at those tracks. I don't
I
think
mean,
that's a,
you better look,
Like, you know, I'm not talking about the ones like on San Isabel's, but these, they just kind of, you drive up on them.
we
Yeah.
looked, but then we looked at that, and it's not, it looks like you just drive up on them, but you still have to get under and
Oh,
do
gotcha.
attachment,
Okay.
so.
I mean, I would think that would, how long does it take you to do that?
Right.
Well, it take a little bit of time, because you gotta get under the vehicle, you gotta do the front, then you gotta back up on the back. So you gotta do the front, and then attach them, and then put the back ones on and back up, so.
you know, I mean, you know, this is something, I mean, we should really look at what's gonna be feasible for us, especially up there in the canyons. Because sometimes them people, I mean, like I said, I know them canyons, and pretty much every canyon you can think about. And 3 foot of snow will turn into 8 foot of snow just that fast.
Yeah, the drift's
When the
pretty
wind starts
bad,
blowing,
yeah.
because when I gotta go up there with a big plow, even the big plows play out getting through that stuff. I mean, you know, you're looking at 2 hours just trying to knock a drift out.
We need something that when we get
Yeah,
there,
I
we
mean,
can
where you can
use.
just go up and
Right.
over.
Not say, well,
That's going to climb over
this.
everything and just do, you know,
Like,
snowcat
I
style
think we
or
got,
something, you know,
looking for
that's.
kind of a 90%, 95% solution. I think if we got 8 foot of snow, we're not, nothing, unless we buy one of
It's
those.
gonna, it's gonna be like we did the last time.
But
You're
it-
just shut down, and that's all there is to it. You can get them kind of snows again,
But I'm
because
looking for something
nobody's
where,
moving until we open it up.
year before last, Gabe and Darren and Dan and I went up to Santa Fe Trail Ranch, and there was no way to get in there. And we had to wait for the grader, but if we'd have had something,
And getting them people from the POA to get the guy out there to plow their roads, that's even harder.
it took a while.
Yeah.
It took a while for me to
Because
get up there. It was
POAs
pretty quick, but it was quicker
Takes
than
time.
expected, but, yeah. But still, they had to, they hiked in probably half a mile, to that guy, but I think if we'd have had something, it was deep, it was too deep for the ambulance.
I'd like
for
for you
sure.
guys to look into this and review some other options and stuff, and let's look at something, because I mean.
I think the track.
I agree,
I
something.
think we need to look at all options.
Mhm.
And just weigh it, because then, you know, and how often, we don't want a piece of equipment that's gonna sit there and not be used for a whole year or
Right.
something too.
Yeah, I mean,
We gotta be smart about it.
it's nice to have something you can use
Mhm.
at any
At any
time.
time,
And
right.
then something that you could get, so that and use in those dire emergencies where you have to go over the snow.
Yeah, those track vehicles start, because, you know, Humvee goes a lot of places, but then we start looking at what's it gonna take to maintain it. And so when you start getting in those track vehicles, that's a lot of money to maintain those things.
Anything you buy is gonna cost a lot of money to maintain.
Well, but a Jeep, we
regardless
thought
what it
would
is,
be-
Regardless.
Yeah.
As expensive, even if we got those track things that go on
God
there.
bless you.
They wouldn't have to be used all the time.
God bless you.
No, that may be a better option, but let's look at all options.
Yeah, and then I mean, even with that too, you could just like build something to have them sit on the ride, so if you get there, get out, unhook them, set them up, and they're there,
Yeah.
so. I like the idea. But-
And I just think having a vehicle we can use year-round, because not just
Oh,
snow
yeah.
is an issue in the canyons, we have mud.
Let's sit here
Well,
and
we
wait
got
for,
everything, that's
sit here
what
and
I'm
wait for an
saying,
8-foot snow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Well, we had one where we had the guy that had the tractor in Aguilar, and that was trying to get, we had a rescue out in, we had a rescue out in Branson where we had the four-wheelers out, but, you know, if you had somebody that you had to take out, that's not gonna
Was
be,
that the one that I drove that,
If-
irritated?
It's just like
Yeah.
Center Hill, when the road washed out, and then people want, you ain't getting in there. Even with scuba gear, go ahead, you ain't getting in there. You know, there's times they're gonna have to just bite down hard, and you can't do it.
So we just need to look at
Self-sufficient.
options and see
Yeah.
what's gonna be best.
Yeah, that's it, you know.
The JTech training we had last Saturday was at the middle school. There was a lot of improvement there. They had a decent show of QRTs. They was, these- we had QRTs using the med sled and stuff, and it was pretty good. And we went the whole thing, we did scenarios where they actually had to come out, put them on the backboard, load them in the back of the RTF vehicle, so everybody got a lot of, it was good training. We set up a couple of scenarios where everybody thought they were kind of doing everything right, and there was one where they were just, the guy go down, and they were just holding him, but if they'd have taken two more steps, they'd have realized there were two victims in the shade, and they didn't see him. And what was great to see is, when that happened, that they were disappointed, and it's like, 2 steps is all I needed to take. It was really great to see that kind of commitment, that they were disappointed in themselves, because that's how you improve it.
But you open their eyes too.
Yeah, it was great.
Guaranteed it won't happen again.
They're gonna do another one February 21st at the old Coke distributor, at 5 p.m.
What?
The 21st of February at the old Coca-Cola building. I don't know if the city wants that or they just have permission to use it. But that'll be great training, because that'll be low light, no light. It'll be interesting.
And what, groups were participating in this last one?
We had, SO, PD, Fisher's Peak, Trinidad Ambulance.
Some of Jimmy's.
Well, some of the EMR students were out there. Well, most of them were victims. And Margaret did a relaunch thing again. And it was they looked hurt. So
She does a good job.
one guy, she gave a bullet hole right in the center of his sternum. And like, I guess you're going to spend the day playing with this guy. It's not survivable. So, but it went really well. They were triaging. Junie went through triage with those guys. We actually had one officer that broke away but they were in a team of 2, and he broke away, and so we just kind of did a loose cannon thing, and I said, "You're down. You run away from your guy, you're down." So now we had an officer down, and so it threw something in there that even I wasn't, nobody was expecting. So it was actually pretty good. And when especially that middle school, I mean, that place just gives me nightmares just because of the stairways and it just.
You should have went to school there. That's pretty cool. The boiler room.
But I mean, we had two active shooter incidents earlier this week, and both of them were in cities that were smaller than Trinidad. So, you know, to me, it's being proactive, not reactive.
It's not a matter of.
And if we're going to go ahead and submit the budget for the state, we've got RETAC funds that I'd like to use for radios, and we're going to submit to the state for radios. And so RETAC we want to use for vehicle radios, and I want to get the radios especially for the new ambulance, so they're here when it gets here, and they can mount those in there. And then for the state grant, we want to put in the portables that we have now. They will no longer service after 2020. So we want to submit grants for those. And the Lucas devices and
Rescue pods
and
the SIM child.
So, yeah, we can get a SIM child, that would be great. That's a training thing, and they're focused on kids this year. Every year there's like they focus on one thing. So the year we got the stretchers, it was safety. So that was a grant that
And
they
these
did.
are all the grants you guys are gonna apply for?
Yeah, we're gonna hold off a year on a vehicle. So what our plan is to get one more of the box. We have one coming this year. Get one more of those big boxes, so we have 4 units that can be first out to in each station. So if one's broken, they got another one to go into. And if you have somebody that's on call, they can come in and grab one that's there. And then when we finally rotate out of these older units, when they get too expensive to maintain, we want to get a Sprinter, one of those little, like you see the FedEx guys driving, and just use that for transfers. So if we're going to put the miles on something, put it on that thing. Those things run about $75,000, $80,000, depending on what you get in them. But then we'd have something. They're not like a Ford, the old Ford van where your knee was in the. You can actually sit up in these things. And but we figure we'll put the miles. If the weather's good, we'll put the miles on that rather than the big boxes. So it's less wear and tear.
Yeah, I mean, them big boxes, they've gotta be a lot of wear and tear up and down that highway.
Well, and I know
Brakes and stuff
Gabe will
like
tell you,
that.
we've been to Springs more time this month than I think ever. Which is
35 transfers this month already.
And
most of those have been to
One went to
Springs.
Denver the other day,
Yep.
didn't it?
Yeah. Most of them have been to Springs, been a couple to Denver, because both the hospitals are full.
Well, I heard that one in Denver, was shit.
So essentially, I just want to get approval, if we already have approved in the budget, to spend up to the amount in the budget for those things that we're going to do for the grant.
I don't have a problem with
No, as long as it's within what we've already put in there.
that. Right. I just think anytime we move money, that we need to know. that
We just gotta document it, just to cover
That's
it
all.
all. So
Yeah.
all I want is documentation.
I think you're running the
cover it,
show.
everything right.
I know the radios we looked at is going to be 43,000 and some change. So we'll get half of that back.
They're
and
not
then-
cheap.
No.
They're not cheap.
Not at all.
And then,
We need communication.
well, especially when these other ones are going to be 2020, they're done.
Yeah, they stopped making them a few years ago, and now they don't, whatever parts are out there is all you have.
Like anybody else, they want you to buy the newest.
Well, yeah,
And great
because
stuff.
even the county, we gotta update here before, because all them 800s ain't gonna be,
Yeah, those are gonna be done.
they're just monstrosity.
And that's all I have.
Any other questions on that?
No?
Operations?
See if I can keep my numbers straight. Right? So for November, we had 185 requests for service, 145 of those were transports. And we had 32 transfers that month. Otherwise, calls by station was pretty even, calls by shift was pretty even. Actually, C-shift that month had 74 calls versus 57 and 54. So C-shift was busy that month. Jump to December. Oh, the transferring position for November was Dr. Eckler. I believe he's on top for December as well.
Hey.
The month of December, we had 186 requests for service, 149 of those for transports, and we had 39 in facility transfers. So our transfers just keep going up. I know this month we're already at 35 and we're not even at the end of the month yet, so. Calls by shift for December were even across the board. Calls by station were even, and we called in the on-call crew twice. Well, we call them in more than twice, but they transferred twice in the month of December. As of December 31st last year, we had 2,192 requests for service. 1,714 of those were transports. 429 of those were inter-facility transfers. So we're right about the quarter of our calls, or a quarter of our transports were inter-facility, which is what we're at for the month already this month. Calls by shift is pretty even across the board, and same by calls by station. On-call ran 19 calls for 2017, so we're using that on-call shift quite a bit. Aside from that, Dr. Eckler
One
was...
thing I have to say is that these guys are, licensed sirens really don't save you a lot of time, especially when you're only running 2 miles, 3 miles. If we're in town, these guys, the shoot times, these guys are getting out the door quick. They really are. I've been paying attention to it. It's been pretty impressive to see how quickly these crews, when they get a call, they're gone.
Well, it's nice they're proactive. They scan the radio, so they know something's gonna pop. They usually start going that way before they're dispatched, so that helps too. So, and
Yeah,
again,
you can tell pretty much when they're gonna end up calling you guys out.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much.
and again, Dr. Eckler was the winning position for December.
And dispatch has completely moved over to Rice School.
Completely.
Completely. As predicted by somebody here.
Yes.
And,
We know what's gonna happen.
and,
There was a question.
I don't know if it was completely tested for,
Doesn't sound like it.
doesn't sound like it, because yesterday, they put out a kitchen fire on San Pedro, and so I asked Gabe, so you gonna go today? He said, yeah. Well, Gabe was the first one on scene.
Responding from here, not emergent.
Engine 1 passed station 2, then the chief pulled out, and I was on scene, then engine 2 showed up, and Chief Howard said, "Hey, Tony, we never got it. They never went off in the station." So it's been,
There's some bugs.
there's some bugs, and they've been here all day today. They've done nothing but radio check. So hopefully that's getting,
Get the code.
it'd be nice.
Is that better to take more of your time? Be happy.
It's did a lot better.
So when you give us the report on the training this Saturday,
You know, Dan worked pretty good.
no. Better than I did.
They wrote a nice letter.
Wrote a couple of nice letters.
Well, I take it nobody's here for public comment, so we can just kind of,
I think we can just, yeah, get rid of that one. All right, we talked about, did we talk about vehicle purchase approval completely, or do you
Yeah,
need
that
more
was
to
a-
cover? I
That
think
was,
that
I
was all
thought that
done,
was in
right?
your,
that was for the
That
Jeep,
was in
right?
your,
The
the Jeep.
Jeep, yeah.
Any other miscellaneous? No?
Yeah,
Yes.
I just want, the vehicle purchase here, like, 80,000. What is that?
The what?
Capital expenses, command vehicle, 80,000.
To replace a vehicle if we have one that's like that truck, almost at 150, 130 now. So, we
What,
got that.
miles?
Yeah, we got
Oh, we got 300,000 on the ones we got.
that. Yeah, but they're
They'll
not,
still go.
they're not being driven like these.
Oh, yeah.
They're being
They're
driven.
driven worse,
You're not supposed to be.
but they are.
They're not emergency.
How's the maintenance on it though? Pretty
Maintenance
good.
been going, well, he just finally replaced brakes, ball joint, and he said there's some metal firing that was in the rear axle. Said he was gonna look and see if he could figure out.
Probably
stuff
came
out.
out. That's
He
probably-
couldn't figure out
that's
what
highway
was going
use
on
for
there.
the I just wanted to see what's in command vehicle, or is that just any one of the vehicles?
No, and it just,
that's just, this is in case we need to replace a vehicle.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
All right.
anything else on miscellaneous? Okay. All right, so then we need to break up into executive session.
Do we want to do what we have been doing, so we can get time out here and just adjourn, or do our next meeting date? And
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. So our next regular meeting date will be Wednesday, February 28th, 2018.
4:30?
4:30.
Underline.
4:30.
bold.
all things being equal.
PM, right?
Yes.
Unless you're not nice to me.
That's why I call her and asked her, which one do I go by?
It's always safe to do.
I'm up at 4:30 in the morning,
Oh,
so
well,
no problem.
I'm not.
Me
I'm
neither.
not even thinking about it at 4:30.
Jojo, just hit the record button.
I'm in the shower at that time, to get ready to go.
Please don't hit the record button.
Okay, never mind.
No, I won't.
Okay.
All righty.
All right, so then, well, we can't adjourn right until we finish the executive session.
Correct.
Right.
If there's no other business to conduct
No.
except the
We got somebody who
executive
needs
session.
somebody's attention.
Oh, I need to get something out of the.
It's on
printer.
my desk.
Is it on your desk?
You guys aren't going to vote, are you?
No.
No,
Okay.
there's no vote on it.